meeting to order. Celeste, please call the roll.
Case.
Present.
Jadish.
Here.
Evans. Here. Kasserag.
Here.
Leidig. Mead.
Here.
Slivka.
Here.
Stevenson. Stacking.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Fourth item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the May 9th, 2019 meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's good. So we have one item on our agenda for this evening. It's a public hearing, continuation of the public hearing from March 28th and April 25th. The item is the downtown zoning update, review and recommendation of the proposed text amendments to Title 11 zoning ordinance and Title 12 subdivisions of the City of Geneva Code and zoning map amendments for the downtown area. Revised documents are available on the project website. Summary of the Plan Commission's recommendations from the prior meetings will be provided by David DeGroot. I'll read since we have two public, and maybe more, coming in that want to talk to us, I'll go through the procedures we have for the hearing. We now enter the public hearing portion of our meeting. It is the Plans Commission job to conduct these hearings. Public hearings in order to receive testimony for and against petitions for the general amendments to the zoning ordinance, zoning map amendments, zoning text amendments, and special use permits and amendments to special use permits. The procedure we will follow for this request is as follows. First, the Plan Commission Secretary and designated representative will read or describe written items, reports, and plans into the record. Second, petitioner will present testimony in favor of the petition and will present any supporting plans or exhibits. Third, the commission members will have an opportunity to question the petitioner. Fourth, the commission will then receive citizen testimony both for and against the petition. Questions about the proposal may be directed to the petitioner or the petitioner's witnesses, and questions about the plan, the commission process itself may be directed to me. Following such testimony, the petitioner and Plan Commission may ask questions for those who testify. Finally, the petitioner will provide rebuttal to any testimony in opposition. When all the testimony is brought into the record, the hearing will be closed and the Plan Commission will make a recommendation to the City Council in the form of motion or motions. In order to give testimony, you must provide your name and address on the sheet as you entered the hearing room. By signing the registration sheet, you agree that you understand anything you say will be considered sworn testimony and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. When giving testimony, please approach the lectern, speak directly into the microphone so that you may be heard. Please begin by stating your name and giving your address. If you speak additional times, please state your name each time for the record. Please be concise when presenting your testimony, and if your point has already been made, it is not necessary to repeat it. Each of these points is recorded and will be considered as the Plan Commission develops findings of fact and recommendation or recommendations. You may provide your testimony in written form, but such written testimony must be presented to the Plan Commission Secretary or designated representative prior to the close of this hearing. After the process is completed and everyone wishing to present testimony has spoken, the Commission will then decide whether it has heard adequate testimony in order to make a decision. If it has, the public hearing will be closed. After the public hearing is closed, the Plan Commission will refrain from receiving any additional testimony either for or against the petition. There is one exception to this rule. City staff will submit a report based on the testimony presented at the hearing. This report will consider comments or concerns from all city departments, such as the Fire Department, Public Works Department, or Engineering Department. At this time, I'll administer the oath for those who have signed the registration form. Anyone wishing to give sworn testimony, ask questions, or cross-examine anyone giving sworn testimony, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. Maybe. All right. So, David, you have a couple items put in the record?
I do just two additional items to enter into the record. Since the recommendation by the Commission at the last meeting, we revised the map to reflect all the recommendations to date. So we have a revised map showing the existing zoning districts versus the proposed zoning districts. And then we have another revised map. They're not pulling up on the screen here. There we go. Another revised map showing the land use plan from the downtown stationary master plan in comparison to the proposed zoning districts. Both of these maps have been added to the project webpage and have been available for several weeks. So if you recall at the last meeting, we kind of went through a summary of all the recommendations that have been made to date. I won't go through all of those again, since I think we agreed on them last time. The one recommendation that was made at the last meeting was regarding 2 blocks of property bounded by Stevens Street on the north, Peyton Street on the south, 5th Street on the east, and 6th Street on the west. This was an area where there was a lot of focused discussion through many of the meetings, but ultimately the Plan Commission recommended to zone these 2 blocks, the downtown single-family medium-density residential district. The purpose of continuing the public hearing to this evening was to notify those property owners affected by that change and give them an opportunity to present testimony in favor of or in opposition to that recommendation. So I do believe we have some public here tonight. They may want to speak to the issue.
Okay, very good. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Sir, since there's a couple of you.
My name is John Folkerts. I reside at 322 North 5th Street. I am not in favor of changing my zoning from R6 to SF. It's as easy as that. I'll repeat, not changing my zoning from R6, and our block would be bordered on Ford on the south. On the north, it would be Stevens. On the west, it would be 6th, and on the east, it would be 5th. That block, I do not believe, would be in our best interest to change from R6 to SF. Yes?
Why?
If you wanted to buy my house, I'd be glad to sell it to you. If you want to decrease the value of my house by $50,000, then you can do it. Because I'm right now in a single family, but I can go to 3. The house on the south of me is 3. The house on the north has 2. So, and then when you go into Stevens and 6th, you got a 4-unit there. And so that block is a great barrier and an easy way for us to go into a residential area. For me, it's simple. You're talking about decreasing the value of my house.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on this matter?
Single-family mixed residential from R6, which is medium density. Single-family mixed residential. Medium density, what's the difference?
If there's no other discussion on that topic or any other topics that we haven't covered to date, we'd be happy to go through those now. If not, I have drafted a motion for consideration based on our discussions up to this point. The first motion would be to close the public hearing and then go into deliberation. We've kind of done that throughout the process of building consensus along the way. But I think for the record, it would be good to have one motion summarizing all of those recommendations. So I've drafted that and provided that to each of you this evening.
Jim?
Have
Any other
nothing.
discussion? Comments? Yes,
As I recall, I think that we owe it to this gentleman to discuss his request. So just kind of reiterate a little bit in refresh in my own memory our thinking for why we were making this change. And as I recall, it was because there was a feeling that this particular neighborhood had the potential to remain or go back to being even more of a strong single-family neighborhood, and that the desire was to push it in that direction rather than push it in the other direction. Anybody recall the
It's
difference? Was
the
that
basic summary, yeah.
basic summary of what we were going to do, and that it was in the best interest, we felt, of the overall community to do that, to maintain this single-family neighborhood on the north side of downtown. And that was the reason for making that change.
Well, that was the reason why we didn't want it to be more intensely developed, was
Right.
because we figured once the cat was out of the hat, we couldn't take it back.
Some
I
support for
think
that from
the
neighborhood,
original
right?
discussion focused on a much larger area too than just these 2 blocks. It focused on all the properties on the south side of Peyton and then west of 6th Street
Right.
too. And part of the kind of consensus was that these 2 blocks were more easily grouped together with the single-family home, and then the blocks kind of on the south side of Peyton, on the west side of 6, provided more of a transition zone into the commercial and industrial areas that they abut. So I think that's part of the rationale for selecting these 2 blocks for the single-family zoning and leaving the remainder as the mixed density.
And I think there was some energy and some public comment around how we've changed this as well, if I
Correct.
recall, from other neighbors.
Yeah, and then for me too, I think it was since 1956 it's been zoned this way. So, I mean, it's been zoned to allow 3 units for a long time, and it's remained relatively stable. So it's like, let's just go ahead and
Right.
do it. So, I mean, that's what I recall, the discussion. We spent a fair amount of time on it.
Yeah.
So, any other comments, questions?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Celeste, please call the roll.
Case,
Aye.
Radish.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Kasserag.
Aye.
Leidig.
Aye.
Mead.
Aye.
Slivka.
Aye.
Stacking.
Aye.
That passes.
Mr. Chairman, before I make a motion, I just want to, for the record, say that I missed the second public hearing on this, but I have spent time and read in detail the minutes from that meeting and feel as though I understand what occurred there, and I can vote on this fairly this evening, I believe.
Agreed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve text amendments to Title 11 zoning ordinance and Title 12 subdivisions of the Geneva City Code and zoning map amendments for the downtown area as presented in the draft documents provided by the staff, with the following exceptions. Number 1, proposed section 11-4A-4, table of permitted and special uses of the zoning ordinance shall be amended to state land uses which are not contained in the table of permitted and special uses but are deemed to be substantially similar in nature to the listed in special uses shall be subject to review by the Director of Community Development, end quote. Number 2, the maximum building height in the proposed D-MHR mixed high-density residential district shall be 35 feet. Number 3, a building containing more than 3 attached single-family dwellings shall require a special use in the D-MHR medium high-density residential district. Number 4, the property located at 18 South 5th Street shall be zoned D-CM commercial mixed-use district. Number 5, the properties along the east side of the 100 block of South 3rd Street shall be zoned D-CM Commercial Mixed Use District. Number 6, the property located at 35 North Bennett Street shall be zoned D-CM Commercial Mixed Use District. Number 7, the property is located at 102, 110, and 114 East State and 5 South Bennett Street shall be zoned D-CM Commercial Mixed Use District. Number 8, this property is located at 122 and 130 East State and 22 Crissy Avenue shall be zoned D-MHR, Medium High Density Residential District. Number 9, the property located at 426 River Lane shall be zoned D-MFR, Multifamily Residential. Number 10, the property located at 417 North First Street shall be zoned D-MHR, Mixed High Density Residential. Number 11, the property is located at 17, 21, and 29 Anderson Boulevard shall be zoned D-MHR, Mixed High Density Residential District. Number 12, the property is located at 511 and 513 South 3rd Street shall be zoned D-CM Commercial Mixed Use District. And number 13, the 2 blocks of properties bounded by Stevens Street on the north, Peyton Street on the south, 5th Street on the east, and 6th Street on the west shall be zoned D-SFMR, Single Family Medium Density Residential. All subject to the findings of fact as presented in the staff report and materials on the development website.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Celeste.
Ace.
Aye.
Gaddish.
Aye.
Aye.
Hasserag.
Aye.
Lightig.
Aye.
Mead.
Aye.
Slivka.
Aye.
Stocking.
Aye.
That passes.
Okay.
Want to thank David and the staff for doing a great job on this.
Excellent.
A lot of work, and you did a great job, so really appreciate it. Made the job a lot easier than it would have been otherwise.
Well, thank you for that, and I sincerely appreciate the thoughtfulness that this commission put into the review and taking several hours over several meetings to go through the materials. I think it's made the process that much easier to go through by taking our time and working through it slowly. So the next steps for this would be, we've amended the maps already per the commission's recommendations. Now we will amend the text of the ordinance and try to find a schedule to get this in front of the city council for consideration. We've got a busy month coming up for them with the charrette and some other policy discussions occurring. So we will try to identify a date where they can set aside some time to review the recommendations of the commission.
Okay. Good.
Other than that, I just wanted to take a brief second of your time. Pull up our city website. Right now, there's a potential we may have a case available already for the June 13th meeting, but kind of have to do our review over the next day or two to make sure that it's ready to be forwarded to the commission. And then we won't have a second meeting in June because that will be the week of the charrette for the mill race redevelopment. So if you haven't seen this already, there's been a press release for the mill race redevelopment. The project webpage has been launched. So if you go to the city site, you can be redirected to the project webpage from there. It'll give you an overview of the project, the schedule for the project, frequently asked questions. But there's also a survey that we would encourage you all to take and to ask others to take. They don't have to be residents of the community. They could be people that work in the community, visit the community frequently, really trying to understand how people relate to the site and how they view the site, interact with the site. So we're trying to get as many responses as we can on that survey. So I just encourage you to share that, take that, and then share that with others, and to visit the website. And if you have any questions, always feel free to contact me. But again, that week of June 24th through the 27th will be the week where we will have 3 public meetings in that 1 week period. And if you can attend one or all, that would be great.
Planning on it.
They be here?
Actually, they'll be held at Riverside Receptions,
Oh, okay, that's right.
which is a great venue to hold it at because you can look out the windows and see the site. So as we're talking about concepts for the site, you can really just gaze out across the river and across the bridge and try to see what's going on.
It's great. Looking
And the
forward to
meetings
it.
are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday
Wednesday,
will be the
Thursday.
meetings, correct. And that's all on the website here too. Maybe I gotta click the schedule link. So the 24th, 26th and 27th. So the 25th is the Tuesday's kind of more of a working day.
5 to 8:30.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Any word on, is it Hamilton Place, Citron? What timing of that is?
Yes, so they were, they're working through some challenges on the stormwater end of things, trying to figure out how to contain it on the property and still allow some flexibility for customizing of the homes.
Okay.
And then they're still waiting, I think, their final approval from the EPA to be able to move forward.
Okay.
But we do have their final PUD plans in and under review. It's just, it's kind of hit a stall on those issues.
Okay.
Were there soil issues there?
There were, and they've submitted a remediation action plan to the EPA for approval, and that approval process can take some time.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to this shred. I think it's gonna be great. I mean, it's a very important site, and this is really gonna be a good process, go through all this. I mean, they got a quick turnaround too, with all the input, and then they gotta come up with options.
That's kind of the intent of a shred, is to kind of compress everything into a short period of time and really build consensus in that short period of time.
Present, you know,
Yeah.
like concepts and things, and so formalize it. Yeah, it's gonna be an intense couple of days.
So after the meetings, after that last week of June, and what do we hear as just the public after that?
So the charrette process will, like, the first night, you're taking input, doing key person interviews. The second day, you're trying to develop concepts based on everything you've heard, and you're probably going to have multiple concepts to present. Presenting those Wednesday evening, getting feedback on that, and trying to identify what a preferred concept is to present at the final workshop Thursday, and build consensus around that plan. Once that's been done, it will go into the entitlement phase, where they're finalizing the technical details, the drawings, submitting those for review by the Historic Preservation Commission, the Plan Commission, and ultimately approval by the City Council. So there still will be public meetings and public hearings that occur after the charrette, but the idea, again, is to build a consensus on the project and support for the project up front before we get into that
That
phase.
consensus should be built by Thursday of that week, huh?
That is the goal.
Wow.
Wow.
So has Shodine agreed to be bound by what comes out of the charrette?
They have.
They have.
So the agreement, which is also available in the resources section of this page, outlines the city's participation and Shodine's participation. The city agrees to pay the entire cost of the charrette if it does not entitle the property as the consensus was built during the charrette. And Shodine has agreed to pay the entire cost of the charrette if they don't construct the project that comes out of the charrette.
Wow.
It's a pretty detailed agreement if you read
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's very detailed.
How long do they have to start?
Fascinating process.
I believe
to
it's
break ground. I've never
18
read
months
this
to
one.
submit for permits, so that gives them time to get financing and finalize the documents and all that.
Get back on time on Monday.
2021, just to break ground?
Still be working 2 more weeks.
Probably, yeah.
I don't think I'll be traveling.
We have out-of-town guests in Michigan that are going home in
Okay.
a day.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it.
One of them. What time I'll get back?
Move to adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Thank you.
Sorry.
John.